Hi, my name is Mary Carreón, and I'm the editor-in-chief of DoubleBlind magazine. And today we're going to be talking about why natural psilocybin mushrooms are better for therapy than synthetic psilocybin compound. A study suggests that using full-spectrum psilocybin mushroom extract actually is more powerful than using the synthetic isolated compound alone in therapy. Maybe you had, I don't know, some gummies, and you found out later that the gummies only had psilocin or psilocybin in there alone. Or maybe, I don't know, it had 4-ACO-DMT, but the person who gave it to you or the person you bought it from told you that it was going to impact you the same way mushrooms do. And you took your mushrooms and realized, no, that's not what you wanted, and that wasn't what you expected, and it didn't help you at all. And maybe this is why, because actual psilocybin mushrooms, the raw material, when you know what you're getting, have more going on in them on an alkaloid level than simply just what's happening in sheer solo isolated psilocin or psilocybin or 4-ACO-DMT, which converts into psilocin in the body. The findings of this study actually have a lot of implications, major implications for the future of psychedelic therapy, because what it means is that entheogenic mushrooms may involve a so-called entourage effect, much like the cannabis plant has when it's consumed, which can open the doors to greater healing for people in psychedelic therapy. The researchers for this study looked at the relationship between natural mushrooms and synthetic psilocybin compound. And the reason they looked at that in the first place is because the synthetic psilocybin compound is often used in psychedelic studies. We're not using mushrooms in our clinical trials. And the reason why is because, according to neuroscientists and scientists in the field, is that it's a more stable compound when it's synthetic and isolated. So they know exactly what they're looking at. In other words, the psychedelic compound of mushrooms, which is psilocybin, is easier to work with in terms of reproducing the same results when it is synthesized and isolated, and there are no questions about what's working and what's doing what. So another way to look at this is in terms of consistency. Scientists specifically work with isolated psilocybin synthetic compound because it is a more consistent. It's going to yield more consistent results. And you know how it is when you get a bag of mushrooms from your friend and you take them and you have one experience, and then you get another, chocolates or something from another friend and you have an entirely separate experience. Or sometimes you go back to the bag of mushrooms that your friend gave you and you still have an entirely separate experience. Who even knows what's going on? However, currently there are scientists who are looking at why that possibly could be. To date, clinical trials have generally been conducted with chemically synthesized psilocybin, and there has been little attention given to additional potentially therapeutic psychoactive or non-psychoactive compounds such as alkaloids in the psilocybin mushroom. And in the findings, it is indicated that full-spectrum psychedelic mushroom extract has a more potent and prolonged effect on synaptic plasticity than chemically synthesized psilocybin on its own. So again, we're talking about the effects of natural psilocybin mushrooms' impact on our brains and our minds and our bodies and our healing capacity through neuroplasticity. That is what this synaptic plasticity is referring to when it's mentioned in this study. These findings open up new possibilities for the therapeutic use of natural psychedelic compounds in therapy, providing hope for those who have found little relief in conventional psychiatric treatments, according to the study's authors. This study suggests that psilocybin-containing mushroom extract may offer unique therapeutic effects not achievable with psilocybin alone. So we need mushrooms. That's it, because there's more going on in them, and the capacity for what they can yield in terms of healing effects and neuroplasticity is much higher. Why it's really interesting is because it says something about the mushroom intelligence and what's going on there. There's a lot more than what meets the eye, but that we are feeling in our bodies and experiencing in our psyches and our minds and everything when we consume the mushroom. So we need to all be paying attention to that and ultimately looking at how these mushrooms are working on a clinical trial level so that we can learn how to administer them in a way that is going to be healing and best for everybody. If you want to learn more about psychedelic mushrooms, check out our other videos. They're below, they're on our channel. Check them out and don't forget to like and subscribe.